Hey y'all, thanks for coming back to watch another video. Now, this video is going to be a story video. I've been doing a lot of archery shooting. So I figured I'd tell a archery story about my first archery hunt with my compound after me and my buddy started shooting compounds, got dialed in. Man, there's a whole lot of first. First hunt, first homemade tree stand, first time hunting on this property. So if you guys want to hear this story, stick through the intro. Let's go.
There I was, back in the wild again, and I felt right at home where I belong.
Alright, y'all. I hope you stuck through the intro. I know at least a handful of you did. Maybe more. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. At the end, you decide you want to watch more and catch up on some of the lives. I've only done 2, but I'm going to do more live streams. Go ahead and subscribe. Go to notifications, click the bell, click all. Boom, you won't miss nothing. Alright, so here we go. So, this story starts back when I first started bow hunting. I was in my mid-20s. Me and my best friend started archery hunting, bow hunting. Well, we hadn't hunted yet. We went and bought bows. We got them dialed in. We're going to hunt. So, this is the exact same year that we got our bows. And, we think we're ready. Well, there's a big difference between shooting at big square targets and actually shooting at something that looks like what you're going to be hunting, 3D targets. So we hadn't done any 3D shooting, only at the bow range or and I'm talking like bow range, indoor bow range. All we had was square targets, paper targets. So you guys understand what I'm saying. Okay, so I've told you in past stories that the guys I work with also bow hunted. My boss and his brother mainly. So my boss's brother comes to me and he says, "Do you have a tree stand?" I said, "No, I was just going to hunt off the ground." He said, "Listen, let me tell you how to make a platform that you can hang in the tree. You just get you some of them tree steps that you screw in, climb up, you can hang this thing, and then you can just stand on it." I was like, "All right, I'll try it." You know what I mean? So we're on this job site. There's a bunch of iron workers there. There's scrap steel laying everywhere. So we find some flat steel. I think it was only about 1/8 of an inch thick. It wasn't real heavy or thick. Then we had some of the steel guys drill holes in it for us. So we got the holes pre-tapped in this flat bar steel. What we do is we also get scrap lumber from the job site. There was a lot of it. Some plywood and some 2x4s. And we make a frame, little platform frame, put the plywood on it, bolt those pieces of flat iron on the back. Now we did use a grinder and cut in some bevels, like some teeth kinda. So these things are gripping, right? Bolt them onto the V in the back of the platform. We bolt them on. Then we took cable and put 2 eye bolts up front and run a piece of cable hooked around it. And then we had a one of them, oh, what are they called? I think it's a cable tensioner, tightener on the eye bolts, both of them. So it wasn't like you could put this thing around any tree, but a tree big enough that would hold you. So my best friend, the guy I started shooting archery with, his best friend that he went to school with and grew up with, is already an avid bow hunter. This guy already bow hunts a lot. Kinda the reason we got into it was through him and my best friend who also bow hunted. But anyways, he's got property. His grandpa owns some property, and it's the same property that we got caught turkey hunting. Well, we was allowed to turkey hunt on it, but I'd put some bait down. That story's in here somewhere on my channel where I got busted by the game warden, but I ended up winning it in court because you'll have to watch that story. All right, so same property, but this is actually the first time I've ever been on this property. So he calls us up. We're going to go out there. We're going to scout out places to put our tree stands. Now I'm the only one with the homemade tree stand because at this point in time, I'm broke. I can't afford to buy a climbing tree stand, or back then it was mainly just pre-made hanging tree stands. You know, it was a platform, straight up bar, it had a seat. Really not a whole lot going on there either, right? But they had just started coming out with climbing tree stands as well. They were really heavy, like over 20 pounds, and I couldn't afford one anyways, it didn't matter. But they had them. And so we go out there, we're scouting around. He shows me and my buddy where he's going to be hunting, and then tells us, you go that way and you go that way. I think he might have been bird dogging us, but I'm not sure because it turned out pretty good. So I go the direction he tells me I should go, which is basically following a game trail. And this property has a dirt road that goes around about 2/3 of it. And once you get back in the woods off that dirt road, about 60, 70 yards in, there's a trail that was basically following the road. The deer had beat a trail down through the woods. Well, this same trail goes right to where the guy who took us out there is hunting. So I get on that trail and I just start heading the other direction. And I don't know, it was probably at least 200 or 300 yards down that trail away from him because I found where a trail was coming off the road and ran into that trail, intersected. So we had the old crisscross trail, right? And this trail that come across the road, when I followed it out to the road, the guy who owned the property on the other side crossed the road and there's a trail going right through his property. So I knew that, depending on the wind, the deer would be crossing the road right there too. So we got this trail that's probably running north and south because I would think that's how that other guy was hunting on a north and south trail. But this other trail is the east and west trail. So I'm going to hunt in the corner of this where these two trails cross. I'm jumping up in the corner. So I start looking around. I find a tree. It's about that big around. Now, if you guys remember, some of you who watch my story videos will know I'm scared of heights. Still today, I mean, and back then I was too. So I don't really want to get too high up in this tree. I'm thinking, 10 or 12 foot. So I use my tree stakes or the tree steps, screw in tree steps. I put them in as far as they'll take me up, which ended up being about 12 foot. I get my little platform hung up there and I go ahead and put my safety harness up there. So it'll all be there when we come back next weekend to hunt. So we go back home, we're practicing, we're all jacked up about this hunting trip. I mean, cannot wait to go hunting. Now, I've harvested whitetails during rifle season several times already. I haven't killed a whitetail with a bow. So next weekend comes around, we all get out there. It's like 4:30 in the morning. Seriously, a whole hour before daylight. I thought it was a little overboard, but I'm glad we did it and learned a valuable lesson because getting out there that early, the deer hadn't even thought about crossing the road or following the road. They were all still out in the fields, which there was a great big field on the other side of the guy who brought us out there. So he actually had the best spot because he was between the field on one side of the property. The trail goes right past him to get to a field across the road where I was hunting. But if anything come past him, I wasn't going to get a shot at it, guaranteed. So he was definitely going to take the shot. You know what I mean? So I had to get lucky and either get one coming from behind me, which probably wasn't going to happen, or one on that east to west trail coming off the dirt road. Okay, so that's what I was hoping for. We get out there, I get up in my little platform tree stand. I mean, that thing was rickety, y'all. Rickety. It was really sketchy for a person that was my size, which I was in good shape. Don't get me wrong, but I was heavy, okay? I was heavy in good shape. Seriously. So anyways, here and there, I'm up on the platform and I don't have nothing to sit down on or nothing, you know what I mean? So I'm just standing, I'm trying to lean against a tree and I'm holding my bow the whole time too, right? So I'm learning a lot of lessons. I learned that I should have had an extra hook, the tree step. I should have had an extra one that I could have screwed into the tree right above me and I could have hung my bow on it. Didn't think about that. So I get up in the tree stand. I'm holding my bow. I'm getting tired. It's an hour till daylight. We didn't have cell phones, so it wasn't like I could play some game on my cell phone, kill time. I just had to stand there and wait and wait and wait. So finally, daylight hits. Now, we do have two-way radios. And as soon as daylight hits, old boy that took us out there on the property, he radios in. Anybody see anything? I'm like, I just got to where I could see. You know what I mean? What do you mean anybody see anything? I'm like, negative. He's like, Matt, you don't have to make the sound. I was like, okay, but I'm a grown man. I do what I want. No, I'm kidding. But I did say, I did say, no, I haven't seen anything. It's just now daylight enough to where I could see. I didn't see anything either, but I think I heard a couple coming your way. And I'm thinking, no, he didn't. You know what I mean? He didn't hear a couple coming my way. He heard some coons or something running through the woods, or a possum, or an armadillo, but it wasn't a deer. He got excited, probably thinking he heard deer. That's what I'm thinking. I'm calling his bluff. I think he's trying to, get me excited. Well, I ignored it. I was like, all right, I'll be watching. I did not expect anything to come down the trail that was right in front of me. Well, it's okay because nothing came down the trail right in front of me. No, I'm standing there watching the trail because he said this. So I'm thinking that, he's just saying it to get me all worked up. But then again, he might be serious and he's excited and wants me to get one, right? So I've got an arrow knocked on my bow. Oh, and back then I was using a Bear Whitetail 2, I think. Whitetail Hunter 2. I think that's what it was called. And Easton aluminum arrows. And one of them arrow rests that was like just two metal things sticking up like that on a bar. Listen, all I know is when the arrow falls off that little arrow rest, it's making all kinds of noise, man. It is. It sounds like a church bell going off. Ting, 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 ting. Right? So I'm nervous about that. And I got these little things on the arrow rest that keeps it quiet while the arrow's on it. But if that thing falls off, and it would fall off, if you wasn't careful, the arrow would fall off that thing. So I'm ready, thinking there's going to be a deer coming down this trail right in front of me. I'm just waiting, I'm watching. And I start hearing something, but it's off to my right. And so I kind of look over and I see something, but I'm not sure what it is. So I just start looking forward again, 'cause I'm thinking squirrels, right? Squirrels are so aggravating. And the noise I heard off to my right, it wasn't real loud. Of course, I was no expert at what deer sound like coming through the woods when you're up in a tree stand, because it does sound different. But I just thought it was a squirrel. I'm watching, and this noise over here starts getting louder and louder and closer. That's why it's getting louder, because it's getting closer. I just said that the other way. Anyway, so the sound's getting closer and closer, so it's getting louder and louder. And so I start looking over to my right. Now I'm right-handed, and I'm standing on this platform was not very big, you guys. I mean, you gotta stay, you gotta listen to the rest of the story. Okay, so I'm trying to kind of turn real slow. Not a draw or nothing yet, but I'm ready to draw. And I'm looking, and boom, I see something. And what I see is just like a line through these leaves. The leaves are all yellow and brown and red. It's right at early fall, September. So whatever it is that I caught a glimpse of moving, all I saw was something move, but it was a straight line moved like this. And so I'm looking. I can't figure out what it is, and then I lose it, in with the saplings and stuff. I lose it, and I'm not sure what I'm looking at anymore. And then all of a sudden it moves again, takes a step. I'm like, oh. And that's when I seen the actual shape of the leg. And it was a deer leg. So it's coming up from my right, which I think would have been north, south, west. It would have been coming up from my west. And it's walking in the woods about maybe 15 or 20 yards out in front of me. That trail, I was right on that trail. It's on the trail. It's walking towards me. So now I'm starting to see it. It's getting within, off to my right. I don't know, it's maybe 30 yards, 40 yards, but it's close enough. Now I'm actually seeing a bigger picture of it through the brush that I'm trying to see through, that's right below my tree and off to the right down the trail, right? So it's on the trail, but there is like brush and shrubs and saplings between us. Well, it finally gets right up in front of my tree. I'll just go ahead and shorten that whole deal. So it works its way up right in front of my tree. Now it gets right to the junction, and by now, for real, I'm drawing back. By the time it hits that junction, because I'm right on this junction, so it's right below me. When I take the shot on this deer, I'd never shot my bow that close at anything ever. And I was so jacked up. And so this deer, this deer comes up to the trail, gets at the junction. I've got my bow at full draw. Now, there's this fella, Mission Discover's got a channel, and he did a video on this about shooting out of a tree stand or elevated area. You don't bend your shoulders like this, you know. You want to stay straight and bend your hips, right? Well, I did not do that, okay? So I'm telling you, you definitely want to do that because it made a huge difference on shot placement. So I'm aiming at this deer, and she turns to go down this trail right towards old boy that brought us out there. And I'm thinking, no way I'm letting you go get harvested by that fella. So as soon as she gets broadside, but she's quartering away broadside, and she's walking, and I'm trying to pick a spot, and I'm thinking quartering away, so I need to aim a little back. You know what I mean? A little back to get the angle of the arrow right through the vitals. If I aim high enough, I won't hit the stomach or nothing, but there's that chance. I wasn't too worried about it because even if I nicked the stomach, I knew I was going to get good lung, maybe heart. So that's what I'm thinking in my head. That's what I'm picturing. Now my form's off, everything's off. I don't even have good form yet. I'm pretty new still. I mean, honestly, I don't. Now what I know, I wasn't ready to even be hunting yet, but I thought I was, and so I did. Anyways, I get ready to take the shot. I get right where I think I need to hit, let her go. I hit her, but I hit her way back, right through the rump. Well, luckily, them old Muzzy broadheads I was using, which I've always used ever since then, them Muzzy broadheads busted right through her hindquarters, went right under her belly. One of the blades actually cut her udders open. Her milk bag got cut open, and it went right through the other leg. So I seen where the arrow hit, and it actually didn't even go all the way out the other leg. It was hanging out of her leg. So as soon as I shot, I hit her. She turns back east and bolts through the woods towards the dirt road. So I seen right away it was a bad shot. When she's running through the woods, I hear that old aluminum arrow, ping, 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 hitting saplings, right? I'm like, oh, never gonna find this deer. That was such a bad shot. I should have done that. I should have waited. I should have been more, prepared when she walked up, or I should have just let her go. I'm like really beating myself up over this because I just know it's a bad shot. It was a bad shot, but was it? Okay, so here we go. So I get on my two-way. I got one. Matt, seriously, you don't have to do the sound every time. I'm like, okay, I got one. I shot one. Where'd she go? Was it a good hit? So he starts flooding in all these questions, right? I'm like, I saw which way she went. I don't think it was a good hit, but I only heard her run a little ways because I could hear my arrow smacking the saplings. He's like, don't move, stay there. We're going to sit it out. Just wait. We'll wait an hour and then we'll get up and go look for her. I was like, all right, man. I'll wait an hour standing on this platform and then we'll go look for her. So I'm standing there, man. I'm all jacked up. I'm looking at my bow and I got my little binoculars out and I'm trying to see if I can see blood. And there's way too much brush. There, I couldn't see nothing. So, the short of that part, I did not stand on that platform for no stinking hour. About maybe 10 minutes max. I'm pretty sure it was only about 10 minutes. I got my string to let my bow down. I lowered my bow down, took my harness off, climbed down. Now, this thing really, this little platform, it was high enough, or I should say low enough. It was low enough on that tree. I probably could have just jumped out, done a little tuck and roll, and been okay. But I climbed down. I get my bow. So now I'm down out of the tree and I'm thinking I'll just sit down up against the tree. I'll just sit here and wait the rest of the time, 50 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever it is. I'll just wait it out down here. So I'm sitting there, and the more I sit there, the more I'm starting to notice where she was standing. And then I can see the leaves where they got kicked up when she spun. And so I'm thinking, probably won't hurt if I just, if I just walk over there, you know. If I just go check out where I shot her, everything should be okay. You know what I mean? I won't jump her up. I'll go real slow. I'll be real quiet. It's only like 10 yards, right? It's like right there. I can see everything. So I pick up my bow. Now I've put another arrow. I've knocked another arrow. I'm taking my time. I mean, Mohican sneaking, you know what I mean? I'm moving slow, just like my dad taught me. I'm all hunkered down. I'm ready to draw. Because if she jumps up, I'm going to let another one go. You know what I mean? But probably would have missed. I was pretty jacked up. So I get to the sign where I hit her. I'm looking at it. And I can see where she was headed. You know, the way her hooves were. And I seen where the back legs swung around and kicked the leaves up. You could even see the scuff in the dirt from the point of her hoof. Swung around. And then you can see where she darted, took off her front hooves, kicked the leaves back, kind of like a burnout, and she bolted. So I can see which direction she went, which I already knew because I was paying attention when I shot her. But up close and when you're tracking, right, I got into tracking mode. So I'm looking down at the ground, I see which way she went, and I don't look very far. And I can see probably about 7 feet, 6 or 7 feet, right into the thick off the trail. I can see blood on some leaves that are about a foot off the ground, 18 inches off the ground. I can see some blood. Then I can see it on the little saplings. I'm thinking, huh, she's bleeding. So maybe we'll find her. So I get on the radio. I'm like, I got out of my tree. I'm standing here where I shot her. I can see which way she went and I see blood. Oh boy, he says. I told you to stay in a tree for an hour. I hope you didn't jump her up. Might take us all day to find her now. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I heard her. I heard her lay down. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I heard her lay down. For all I know, the arrow fell out. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to make excuses for why I didn't listen. Now, mind you, this guy's the same age as me. He ain't my boss or nothing, right? He's not my dad or my uncle or my brother, but he is a lot more experienced than me. And he did know what he was talking about, and I was not listening. So, we're past that now, but I'm going to be honest. I wasn't listening. So I decided, okay, I'll just stay right here because we see blood, and he's right. If I spook her, We'll probably have to chase her a mile. So I waited, and he doesn't take the whole hour neither. He gets pretty excited about it. I don't know, about maybe 20 minutes later, so like 45 minutes total. I ended up having to wait for him to get down and come to me. So he sees the blood trail. I show him. He sees it. So we really slowly start down this blood trail. And he says, she's heading straight for the dirt road. I was like, yeah, I thought that's, the direction of the dirt road, which I knew it was, but, the trail went right to it. But she was off the trail. When she bolted towards the dirt road, she didn't stay on the trail that went to the dirt road. She busted through the woods. But the trail was just right over there. So anyways, we get to this spot where she had obviously laid down. I don't know if me and him jumped her up and spooked her because I didn't see her jump up, but I think maybe when I got down out of the tree, and I'm pretty sure I spooked her up. When I walked towards the blood trail that went through the woods, I think she heard me or smelled me or something. She jumped up. So we get to this spot where she had been laying down, and I mean, it looked like a crime scene. Okay. So he looked at me and he said, "Are you sure you got a bad shot?" I said, "Man, I'm telling you, I saw my arrow go right through one butt cheek, come out the other side, and it was sticking out of her when she took off running." He's like, "Man, that's crazy." So we see all the blood. Then we start following the blood trail where she took off again. And now it's even heavier and it's looking kind of cloddy. Then, boom, there's my arrow laying on the ground. Nice. He picks up my arrow. He looks at the arrow. He's looking at the veins, at the blood on the arrow. Then he looks at me. Then he looks at the arrow and he smells it. I was like, what in the world is this guy? What is this guy doing? And he smells the arrow and he looks at me again. He said, "Well, you didn't gut shoot her." He said, "I don't think you hit any vitals like the lungs or anything." He said, "It's just blood." He said, "There's fat on there." I was like, huh. I shot her through the butt. He's like, "I know." He said, "I think there's a main artery that runs through there." He said, "You might have nicked that artery or cut that artery in one of her legs or her hips." It's basically lower hips where I shot her. "You might have nicked them arteries." I was like, "Man, that'd be something else, wouldn't it?" He's like, "Actually, it would." He said, "That's rare." He said, "That's a bad shot. That's going to turn out good if that's what happened." So we get to the road. We track her to the dirt road. Well, it was really weird because when we got to the dirt road, it was like the blood stopped. When you walked out into the dirt road, there wasn't no more blood. When you walked over to the other side of the dirt road and you looked in the ditch and at the fence where, it would jump over the fence, you didn't see no blood on the road, in the ditch, or on the other side of the fence where she would have landed. So, when they jump the fences like that or they jump over creeks or something, they land. Sometimes most of the time, it'll do a little puff of air from their insides and it'll spray that blood out. So you'll get like this mist and you'll see it. Well, we didn't see none of that. So we're just walking back and forth on across this dirt road from one side to the other. We're trying to see just one drop of blood. Finally, this guy sees a drop of blood. And it was the smallest drop of blood, you guys. Like so tiny drop of blood. And he could tell by the way that blood splattered once it hit the rock and it splattered. He could tell what side of the deer it was on and what direction it was going. Yeah, I learned something right then and there too. So I was like, oh, right on. He said it made it across the road. He said, let's go. So we go straight across the road. We look back. We see where she was. We look at the blood dot. We make a line. We go straight to the fence. We're climbing the fence. So the guy on the other side of the road that had this property, he had already given us permission to chase anything we shot on his property. He told us we could hunt over there if we wanted during bow season, but we didn't need to. But luckily, we did have permission to go onto his property. So we crossed the fence. I go across the fence first. I'm holding the fence up because now my buddy, he's going to go through it. So I'm holding the fence up so he can get through. He gets through the fence, and when he gets through and stands up, he freezes. He turned around, he looked at me. He said, you see that? I look around him. He's not right in front of me. I look around him and I'm like, see what? He goes, right over there. And about, I'm not kidding, maybe 15, 20 yards over this fence, this guy's property kind of goes downhill. So when we walked up to the fence and was looking for blood, right, there was no blood over there. That doe had went just as far enough over that hill and she fell. She collapsed. And when she collapsed, she slid down that hill a little ways. So we couldn't see her from the other side of the fence. But once we got across that fence, and he's 6 foot two, so another reason why I didn't see her, because I was too short to see past that hill. He was taller, and he could see her body down there. So I'm looking, I'm like, what? And he's like, right there she is. And so I take a few more steps, actually, a couple yards in, boom, I can see her. Okay, so we go over there. I pull my knife out. I'm fixing to, field dresser, get her cleaned up. Because why, we might as well field dress her before we throw her over the fence, right? It's going to be a lot easier. She's going to weigh about 80 pounds less. So I'm going to, start field dressing. And he's like, wait, hold on. He said, I want to try something. I was like, what are you going to try? Okay, whatever. He says, I got this new field dressing tool. He said, when you use this, you just got to make one little cut and you can pull all the intestines and everything out. You can field dress them with one pull, the whole thing. I'm like, what? I never heard of this. What is this thing? What are you talking about? So he pulls this thing out of his backpack, and right here it is. I was like, what in the world is that thing? How you gonna field dress a deer with that? He said, listen, here's how you do it. This thing comes with instructions, and this is basically what they look like. I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, there's no way. There is no way I'm using that thing. He said, don't worry. I'm gonna use it. He said, it's first time. I've been wanting to see if if it'll work. We gotta try it out. Can I try it out on your deer? I said, hey man, go for it. You mess it up, you're cleaning it up. And he knew what that meant. If he cut that bladder open or busted them guts open, he was gonna be cleaning that deer right then and there. All of his water is going in that deer. All right, so he breaks this thing out. He's got his field dressing knife out. He makes a few little cuts. Oh, this thing is awful. And I think he makes a cut right at the pelvis too. Because I think I remember him cutting through the pelvis, getting her legs spread open real good, cut through the pelvis, and then made this cut around the anus. He had shoved that thing up into her anal cavity, right? It's a plug. He shoved that up in there, made this cut, and I'm not kidding you guys, pulled everything out. Everything but the heart. And I think maybe the lungs. The heart and the lungs, there was a couple things left inside, but the main part of it, the stomach and intestines and all that, he pulled right out. And then once he got that out, this little cut he had made in the bottom was big enough he could get his arm in it and reach up in there and cut other stuff loose, right? And get it pulled out. The liver and the heart, I'm pretty sure stayed in there though, you guys. I'm pretty sure. And the lungs. Yeah, maybe it was just the heart and the lungs. I don't know, but everything didn't come out, but the biggest part of it come out. So then we drag her over the fence, chuck her over the fence, put her in the back of her truck, hunt's over. So we get back to the house. My buddy, he didn't get nothing. Now his buddy that helped me do the tracking and the skinning ended up becoming one of my very best and most dependable hunting partners I ever had. That guy could track, he could skin a buck and run a trot line. This guy was 100% country. He was good at it too. Me and him tracked many a deer for other people and then our deer helping each other. And I learned a lot. I already knew how to track, but I didn't know some of the stuff he taught me. I wasn't as good as a tracker as he was, but after a few years, I could track just as good as him, no problem. So we load the deer up, we head back, celebrate. I call my little brother, he comes over, we skin the deer, cut it up, get it in the freezer. I call old boy up, hey man, when you going back out to that property where we just went hunting? He's like, I'm going back out there tomorrow. You want to go? I said, nope, I don't want to go. I said, but if you'll do me a favor and pull that platform out of the tree and get my tree steps for me, sure would appreciate it. He's like, oh yeah, no problem, man. You gonna move it? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna move it. I moved that thing straight into a burn barrel. I took the metal stuff off of it, cables and all that. Boom, I burnt that platform. Got rid of it. Got rid of it. The very next weekend when I got paid, I went to the Bass Pro catalog outlet and I bought my first climbing stand. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Maristep Goliath or something like that. This thing weighed a ton, but it held a lot of weight. It had a huge platform on it and a ginormous seat. So I could climb 20, 25 foot up in a tree with this thing. And I sit up there like I was in a recliner. I wasn't scared. Got my harness on, 5 point harness too. I didn't mess around, man. Hanging out. Now I've bought me a little bow hanging arm that comes out and swivels out here, and I can hang my bow in just about any position I want. I've got that, and yes, sir, that one bow hunt, I learned so many lessons, and immediately quit pinching so many pennies and went and bought the things necessary to make a safe and all day comfortable hunt, and hunted that way from then on out. So I cannot wait to get out in the woods this year with my trad bow and ground hunt a whitetail right up in the nitty gritty. Man, I got goosebumps. Oh, I've got goosebumps. I'm getting jacked up over it. Now, I'm not going to bow hunt until it cools off. So I've learned a lot of lessons about that too. Getting excited and going out and hunting when it was kind of warm. And then if it don't work out just right, you end up with the spoiled harvest. So I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to practice, tell stories. I might tell stories while I practice. We'll break it up. I'll keep it all mixed up. Everybody be guessing every week. So you better subscribe, click the bell, hit all, or you're going to miss out and you're going to get behind. You're going to get lost. You're not going to know which way is which, north, south, east, west. Which way did the woodsman go? I'm lost and I don't know. So the best way to keep up and always know is hit all. Okay? Subscribe, like, notifications, bell, all. Just like that. Over. All right? But most importantly, you guys know. And if you're new, you're fixing to find out and you're going to learn right now that you are not alone. No matter what, you are not alone. Someone in your family is thinking about you and loves you. One of your friends is thinking about you and loves you and cares about you right now. And if you're having a hard time and you're thinking you're all by yourself, you're not. And I hope that if you hear this, you realize that you're not. You need to call a friend, call a family member. If you don't want to talk to anyone that you know or that you are related to, you can call 988. And if you're a veteran, dial 1 right after you do that. Them folk will get you hooked up with the people that can help you with whatever issue you're having right now. There's no time limit. I'm pretty sure it's 24/7. You just call them up whenever. Okay? And if you're someone who has faith in God, I don't know if you know, but you should. You can hand it all to Him. You sit down and you say a prayer and you let God into your heart and you tell Him everything that's bothering you. Now, He's not going to come right down to you. You're not going to instantly hear a voice. But what He's going to do is He's going to show you in one way or another the direction you need to go. And I promise you, it's not going to be one that hurts you. Okay? Because God loves everybody no matter what. And I don't care what anybody says. And I don't care what anybody thinks. You don't like hearing this? That's fine. You don't have to turn it off. Okay? I love my God, and I'm going to try to let every single person that I can know that He loves you too. And you can give all your problems to Him, okay? But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. That is absolutely fine. But whatever you do, don't give up. You get a hold of somebody, 988, a friend, or a family member, okay? No matter what, get a hold of somebody. You're not by yourself. Millions of people care about you and love you and are worried about you. So don't give up, okay? God bless everybody out there. God loves everybody out there. I have love in my heart for every single human alive. So no matter what, don't sweat the little stuff. Squatch it when it shows up. Keep on keeping on. Peace.